Let me ask you, how do you start a new script in RStudio? So you would define your libraries, then you will define your data, and then you will define some functions which generate your charts, tables, or analysis, or whatever you want to do. And very quickly, this will be an example how we will actually start writing our scripts. So you define your libraries, then you define your data, look at the data, and then start writing some analysis or some charts. Output, you make some mistakes, you fix them, and then you run it. Then you realize that you want to make some colors in the chart, and then you define a color palette, and then you make some more changes, and finally you end up with a final product which you want, which is something like this. So don't worry, I'm not going to teach you how to draw this chart, but I'm going to talk about the way we work with RStudio. Now watch the magic very carefully. I've started a new R session, and I'm going to start it from scratch. And here we go. I'm going to define my libraries. See, I'm defining my header, and it automatically appeared, and I can simply change the descriptions there. It's always a good practice to start with your R script or any programming script with a header so that you know who wrote it, when it was written, etc. And I'm defining my libraries. See, all my libraries just appeared in a jiffy. And now I'm going to define some data as usual, which is a normal thing. So I'm using ggplot2 diamonds dataset. And now if I run it, I have my data and all my libraries are active. So I look at the structure of the data, which we did earlier also. Don't worry, we need not type all the ggplot commands to create a chart. I'm just using this. And suddenly all my script appears, and all I need to do is change my data frame and my X value, or I want to display the color, so get the frequency of that, and then there we go. We can use the same automation technique for other scripts also. In this example, I'm going to show you how you would normally create a table of statistics using GTSummary. So you would start with your data set, and then you would pass that data set to the table summary, which will create a table output which will display the statistics like this. So how can we automate that also? So I've written another kind of a macro which can be used to do that. So I'm calling that my table summary categorical. And the moment I do that, the whole boilerplate appears. All I need to do is change the data frame, and the factor value C is going to change all over. Just watch very carefully. I'm going to change the factor value, and it's changing at all the places in one single step. You don't have to go there again and again to change it. Same thing with the first factor. I've changed it, and the whole script is now ready to run. So let's run it and see the output. Now let's go to the next step. We have an age column in our dataset trial. So I'm going to convert this age into different age categories. See that age is a numerical value, and I would like this age to create some age groups. So instead of writing it from scratch, which takes a long time and then you make mistakes, I'm just going to call my underscore age groups, and suddenly the whole boilerplate appears. And you can see that age is highlighted. So if I wanted to change the name of the age column, it'll change it in all the script in one go. Using this age group, I can quickly create another table, and I can use the same magic, and I'll simply call my little macro, and then the whole boilerplate appears, and I need to change the data set, and I need to change the factor value, and which you've already seen. And then instead of age, I'm going to call it as age group, and the first factor is by treatment. So if I run it, we get a nice little table automatically. If you're still not convinced, I'm going to create another one for continuous summary this time, and have another little macro for that. And if I call that, I can simply change the data set and the factor value and numerical value. So see that is going to change in one go. It's all highlighted automatically, and I'm going to type it out. It's changing all over. Then tab to the next one, and then I run it, and then we get suddenly our output. So I'm not showing you how to create those charts or tables. I'm just going to show the way I'm actually creating them. So in this case, I want to create a cross table. Suddenly I gave the name of the macro, and then the whole boilerplate appears again. Just change it. you just change the rows and columns and then you get your output. So that makes it very, very efficient, and the chances of making the mistake go drastically down because the code is already pre-written and you just need to customize it to your needs by just typing few words here and there, and suddenly everything appears. So even I listed all the libraries, etc. in one go, and then you get a nice little output. So how is this code coming again and again? It is actually coming from the tools and snippets. Most of us actually ignore the snippet because we think, oh, it's some kind of inbuilt thing and we don't need to use it. There's so many commands in there which are already there, and we never bother to look at those things. We think these are the boilerplates which RStudio uses, but it is for us to use that as well. So for example, if I type if, and you can see that there are a number of ifs there, and there's something if within the snippet. So if I click the tab button, suddenly the whole boilerplate of the if program or script appears. And similarly, if I say my underscore something, you can see these are all my little scripts which I've created within that snippet, and they simply appear. The moment I say my underscore, I see all of my code listed, and I just tab across the right one, and then you see the whole thing coming up. So I don't have to type it from scratch. So how do we create our own snippets? So you can simply go and start typing. For example, you can see that these are my little snippets which I've created, and I follow the naming as my underscore libs. So in this case, I have forgotten to put dplyr as a library in that, so I'm going to do that as well. So the next time when I run it, I would actually get dplyr as well. So that's how you make your changes, and then you can simply save it. And this is my little header which you just saw, and my cross table. So all those things, I've created it over a period of time, and you can simply save it, and the next time when you run it, I would simply have, as far as the built-in snippets are concerned, you simply have to find it out. So for example, if I said if, you would find that snippet for if. But the problem is, how do you remember that there is a snippet for something? So the best thing you can do is go and change the names of all these snippets. So I'm going to put snp underscore in front of that, and I'm going to repeat the same thing for all these, the pre-built ones. So you just have to kind of follow a way of naming them consistently, and instead of calling it with the name itself, I'm just going to put snippet in the front, or snp underscore in the front. And you will see in a minute why I'm doing that, and it'll make your life much more easy when you start using them on a regular basis. Let's save the changes, and then we can see how we're going to use it. So let's finalize it and save it. And when I go there and say snp underscore, you would see that all your snippets appear in one place. And that's what I was saying, that you can actually, now you don't have to remember, you just say snp underscore, and suddenly all your snippets can be seen at one place, and you can simply select the one which you want. For example, while condition, it already gives you a boilerplate for that. And similarly, when I create my own little snippets where I need to draw a chart or a table or some analysis or some statistics, I call them as my underscore, and that's a way of kind of segregating that these are my little custom scripts, and some are the built-in scripts which are snp underscore. So just a naming convention which you can follow to make your life easy. So let's create a new script from scratch. So just to do that, you just simply have to write your script and then test it, and once you're happy with that, you just copy it across. So I'm writing this little ggplot script to create a box plot. We have plenty of videos in detail to teach you about box plots and other ggplot charts. You can watch them separately. So I've ran my command, just make some final adjustments, and then simply put the library if you want, and then ultimately you copy it across and go to edit snippets, and then just go and add it in. So to start a new snippet, you have to call it as snippet space, and this is the name of your snippet. I'm calling it as my underscore box plot, and then I've simply copied the text which we already tested in our RStudio, and it appeared to be working and creating a box plot. and I'm just formatting my text so that it looks neat, and I'm going to save it. But I know there is a problem in this script, but let's see what it is. So if I go and call my underscore, you can see my box plot appears, but the text is not appearing fine. So there's something wrong. Let's edit our snippet again, and you can see that most of the snippets which I've actually created start with a tab there, and the one which we created just now just started from the left side. So all I need to do is just tab it across, just select everything and press a tab. And now if I run it my underscore box plot, you would see that the complete text is appearing fine. So this is the little trick, and there's some more tricks in there as well. For example, you know how we have our data set and our X equals color, Y equals price, etc. We can customize those also. So we can define the variables here. So those little variables are very handy. Remember how I changed the age group, the name of the field, and it changed in all the lines. So that can be easily achieved by using some kind of a variable in a snippet, which I'll show you in a minute. So what we need to do is go back to the snippet again, and you notice that there is some $1 double dots and code, etc. Don't be scared of that. It's very simple to use. So all you need to do is, so what is my first variable in this case? The data set. So I'm saying this is the first variable, and I'm calling it as my data set. That's all. Just follow the same convention. Starts with a dollar and with a curly bracket and number 1. Now this is my second one, so second variable, and I'm calling it as X value. And this is my third one, so dollar, this should be 3 because this is a third variable, and the name of the variable which it will show on the screen. And once I finalize it, and I just want to do some final adjustments, so I can change the color also if I want, because the color should be driven by the X value. So I've changed that, and notice that I still call it as 2 because the moment you change it up there, it will change everywhere. So this is the second value, this is the third value, and this is the second value again. So once I'm happy, I'm just going to save it, and maybe I can copy some more text from my previous one. For example, all the X labels, Y labels, etc. So why not? Why do we have to write all these things again? So we can just simply put it in the boilerplate and simply have everything ready. So if I call my little command, my underscore box plot, the whole thing appears. So in your code, you created some variables, so you can see how I'm changing them. Diamonds, and tab across. Remember to tab, otherwise it's not going to work. So I'm changing the X value. It's changing in both the places, so color, and the Y value. And that completes your script, and you can simply run your script and it gives you a nice little box plot. And of course, you can further customize it on a case-to-case basis. For example, the titles are going to be different every time. So you can put your title here, subtitle, etc. And that gives you a finalized chart. And I hope you found this information useful and practical. This was not a demonstration on how to do the coding or create the chart. This was to see how we can make your life easy by creating little snippets in the system so that you can keep on reusing it again and again. It's a very efficient technique, and it saves a lot of time on a daily basis. If you like this video, then please share it with your friends and subscribe. Thank you.